Sports. It's who we are. It's what we do. It's how we roll. It's wins and losses, highs and lows. It's effort, respect, and dedication. The High School Sports Beat. Sports. It's who we are.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us on the High School Sports Beat. I'm Dave Yates. We continue our look at Section 5 sports with a flashback to our first season on 13 Wham from February of 2013. Here's Bill Pucko and Brian Mazurowski.
Which brings us to Bristol, which manages the perfect marriage between recreation and competition. Here's Brian Mazurowski.
It just may be the most scenic venue in all of Section 5. Bristol Mountain played host to two giant slalom races on a cold and snowy Friday night. The setting was perfect to hit the slopes for the 5th official event of the skiing season. And while you may not hear much about the ski scene in Section 5, don't let that fool you into thinking it's small.
Section 5 has been the strongest section in the state for the last 15 years. Last year was the first time that the boys lost the state championship, and the girls for the last 12 years. So it's we got second place to Section 2, which has been coming on. We have the most teams in Section 5 in New York State and possibly the country.
With the athletes strapped in, it was a quick ride up the mountain and to the starting gate. And while the scene from the top was perfect on Friday, the always changing temperatures experienced over the last few months have made conditions on the slope unpredictable.
When it goes from 64 degrees and rain to 20, and Bristol makes as much snow as they possibly can make. It has mixed conditions, but the course did held up halfway decent.
Bristol's great. They always put on great runs. The courses were both pretty challenging, and with the weather, it's been a little crazy. But they put on good races every time.
Man-made snow may have taken away some of the skiers' worries, but they still had to deal with the man-made course.
The way they set it, they can set it anywhere, so you never know what to expect when you're coming into it. Different coaches set every course, different coaches like different things, and so sometimes you're just like, oh my goodness, that's crazy, but that's what makes it different and fun.
The girls are first to go downhill. HFL's Maggie Gilligan posted the best time in both of the evening's races and was one of just 3 girls to go under 50 seconds in race 2. The other 2 to go under 50 were Brighton teammates Catherine Golini and Megan Haggerty. The boys have the advantage of seeing the course in action before their runs, but they also have to deal with the subtle ways it changes.
The ruts start to form, and this time they moved the gates out, so it made it a little bit more turnier, harder to ski, and just more snow just piles up on the edge too. So.
None of those factors seem to phase out Hunter Doyle, who won both of the boys' races, edging out Mendon teammate Jake Hopfinger by 0.2 of a second in race number 2. When the races are over, the winners get to celebrate, but everyone leaves with a smile. Win or lose, racing on the slopes isn't a bad way to spend an evening.
Maz joins us now. Sort of like, this sounds kind of stupid, but it's like bowling outdoors, where you're taking a recreational sport, you're adding the element of competition, and everybody goes home happy.
Bill, I thought the exact same thing when I was there inside the lodge. You have teams talking to other teams. Everyone's friendly with one another. Tables set up, food everywhere. You have the Fairport team. It was their senior night. They're having a good time. Different events going on with different teams. It's a cool event to go see.
Man, Jeff Barron, our photographer, had a great time, too. I don't think that should go unnoticed.
Coming up next, Matt Trabold joins us for the High School Notebook. We'll have that more on the High School Sports Beat. Continues. Hello and welcome back to the High School Sports Feed. I'm Dave Yates. It is time now for the High School Notebook, and that means it is time for Matt Trabold to join us. Matt, thanks so much for climbing on board.
Thanks for having me on.
Hey, we're going to talk some soccer. Things finally starting to get underway around here, and let's start talking about Bishop Kearney, the girls team, looking strong. And they've had a history of having some strong girl squads over there.
Absolutely. Day one of the 2020 Section 5 girls soccer, boys soccer seasons was not quite as full as the Saturday slate that came around day two, but hey, that first day still had a handful of exciting games, including Bishop Kearney girls soccer picking up an overtime tie against Katie Newby and the Williamson team that tied for a sectional title last season. So BK has been an underclassmen-driven squad for the most part for a long time now, largely since a half-decade ago when Ari Smith graduated, big star there. She went on to the Division I ranks at Wagner. So that has really seen this trend in how polished some current veteran pieces are at this point in their careers, because since they were very young, they've had big roles on this BK team. Expect a lot of goals this season. We've seen it right off the bat from junior forward Kaya Good. Also, everything on the attack for this BK Chesterton Academy combined team. That is the combination this year with both those schools going in together. So everything on the attack goes through. Senior midfielder Emily Teitler and another midfielder, Morgan Williams, plays with poise years ahead of her sophomore class standing, which helps because she is in her fourth season on varsity. That trend, again, we're seeing it even now. And then Kaya Good's younger sister, in eighth grader Clarissa Good, is a confident defender despite being that young age. This is a team to watch.
All right, let's flip it over to the boys' side a little bit. Let's talk about the Wayne Eagles and a team that looks like they could be making some noise this year.
Yeah, so boys soccer team that really impressed me during the first weekend Section 5 sports return after that historically long hiatus, for obvious reasons, was the Wayne Eagles. Tim Maddle's team graduated 6 starters from a side that made the 2019 Class A2 sectional final. That includes top-notch Cullen Bach, Matt Gentile, big-time talents there. But the talent pool in Wayne is clearly still very deep because they look like a major title contender yet again. All 11 Wayne has on the field at any given time are sure-footed. They're capable, high soccer IQ, all of them. If you do not make a perfect touch on the ball playing them, Wayne swarms to steal it. Junior midfielder Josh Bolt, there's a lot of bolts going on in that Wayne athletic situation. So Josh Bolt has the footwork to maneuver past opposing players and then has the open field wheels to leave defenders behind. Winger Tyler Reynolds, breakout basketball player this past season for the Eagles. He can operate well on both wings, played a little bit of both against Newark in the season opener, and he can score on headers. That was his goal in that game. Caleb Glessing, another big guy to watch for them, is versatile towards the back as a stopper.
Let's go back to girls now. Let's talk about the Pal-Mac girls, another team that you see is looking pretty promising in the early start of the season.
Yeah, so 4 of the 6 goals Palmyra-Madison girls soccer has scored this early season through one weekend have been netted by underclassmen, but the big scoring role freshmen and sophomores play on this Red Raiders club should not make you think they will not go for another consecutive season of double-digit wins. Just over the last 3 seasons coming to this one, Pal-Mac girls soccer combined record of 40 wins and only 11 losses. So Flash Academy player, that's a big soccer institution locally and really in Western New York and the state as a whole. She's a freshman, Maya Eichwood, scored a pair of goals in the season opener. She's adept at maneuvering in a phone booth in a crowded box with her quick, concise, skilled footwork. Sophomore starting keeper, another underclassman playing a big role this time more defensively. Claire Bozel has a stunning reflexes, talent, and she stopped a second-half penalty kick. She's showing it in that opener, preserved her clean sheet. That's a big thing for her, big thing for the team. Young, but great.
All right, Matt, great stuff, and thanks for leaving me the mental image of someone playing soccer in a phone booth. That's always a nice thing to see. Hey, have a great week, man. Great talking to you. Take care.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, we're back with more of the High School Sports Beat right after this. Coming up next, the Making the Grade nominee with Kyle O'Gara, and later, the Clayton Barnard at Hilton with Yianni Diakomihalis. The High School Sports Beat returns.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the High School Sports Beat. I'm Kyle O'Gara. Making the grade this week is Keswick senior Riley Reese. Riley plays soccer and baseball for the Indians and has been on both teams for 4 years. During that time, Riley has been named an All-State player in soccer, LCAA Boys Soccer Player of the Year, won multiple MVP awards, and is the captain of the soccer team. Riley is skilled not only on the field, but also in the classroom, with a 93.3% average. On top of his good grades, he's made high honor roll every quarter since 9th grade and is the National Honor Society's treasurer. Outside of school, Riley works a part-time job on the weekends, volunteers to help with community service, and plays Empire United Soccer out of Rochester. Next fall, Riley plans to study business and finance in college and hopes to continue his athletic career. This week, Riley Reese is making the grade. If you have a student in mind for our Making the Grade segment, we want your nominations. Send them into mtg@rocksportsnow.com. Now here's Dave with the Section 5 Spotlight.
Thanks, Kyle. Here are some of the athletes, teams, and coaches making news in our Section 5 Spotlight. 2007 graduate of School of the Arts Emma Cannon had a huge impact in the WNBA Finals, scoring 17 points for Las Vegas in a loss to Seattle. Cannon didn't play in the regular season and had just 4 points in the playoffs before erupting in Game 2 of the Finals. Section 5 soccer kicked off last weekend. Marcus Whitman's Zach Lovejoy scored a hat trick in the Wildcats' 3-0 opening night win over Waterloo. Former Churchville Childline cross-country star Peyton Gleason finished in second place at the 19th annual Live in Lou Cross Country Classic, one of the country's biggest for collegiate runners. Gleason, a junior at the University of Memphis, finished the 8K in 24 minutes and 22 4/10 of a second. Well, coming up next is a showdown on the mats in Hilton. We'll have that story when the High School Sports Beat returns.
And now to Eichel. He floated one. Score!
Welcome back, and thanks once again for joining us on the High School Sports Beat. I'm Dave Yates. Again, we flash back to our 13-WHAM debut season for the Annual Clayton Barnard Wrestling Tournament, where a highly anticipated rematch saw Jon Haas take on Yianni Diakomihalis. From January of 2013, here's Bill Pucko.
The Spencerport Wrestling Program received one of the highest local honors available this last summer. The program, was inducted onto the Frontier Field Walk of Fame. That honor was earned, but the dynasty is teetering. It wasn't that long ago when it was Spencerport Wrestling and then everybody else. The Rangers were that dominant for decades. But there's a changing of the guard occurring, and it couldn't have been more evident than at Hilton's 33rd Annual Clayton Barnard Memorial Tournament. Two teams, Hilton and Fairport, have emerged as threats to the Spencerport dynasty. The hosting cadets placed 7 wrestlers in the 15 weight class finals. At 152 pounds and mature beyond his year's 8th grader, Mike Spallina decisioned Fairport's Anthony Bell. Spallina's was the second of 3 consecutive wins for Hilton to start the night. Wrestling big at Hilton, getting better?
Yeah, it's getting a lot better this year. We were an honorable mention in the state, and I think we've got like 21 wins this year and like 3 losses, so we're coming up there
Fairport began the championship round with a near insurmountable 30-point lead over Spencerport, 38.5 ahead of Hilton, built largely on depth. 13 of the Raiders' 17 wrestlers placed in the top 6. Jordan Seidel was one of those, despite losing to defending Section 5 champion Jared Mesidi of Brockport at 170 pounds. A champion Fairport can't count on is Colton Kells, undefeated at 195 pounds and named the outstanding heavyweight of the tournament. Kells managed a critical and controversial takedown at the buzzer ending the second period, with the wrestlers skirting the out-of-bounds line. Those points were critical as Kells went to 32-0 with a hard-fought 3-1 decision over Spencerport's Colin Pittman.
Nice being the guy. I mean, if the team does really well and you kind of look to the guy who's winning all the time, you're that guy.
Yeah, you know, our heavyweights have been really strong in the past couple of years, and a lot of the leadership has come from our heavier guys. And it's, you know, it's nice when our team has a lot of success, and then I in turn have some success.
The most anticipated match of the night occurred at 106, with Hilton's 8th grade dynamo Yianni Diakomihalis wrestling up a class, facing Spencerport's Jon Haas. Those same two wrestled for the 99-pound sectional title last year, with Haas winning. Diakomihalis is 34-0, but had never beaten Haas. Until now. Yianni scored a 2-point third-period near fall and held on for a 3-2 win on his way to the lightweight of the tournament honors. Hilton scored an amazing 6 individual championships to place second.
How good was this for you guys as a team and individually?
It was nice, you know. This was a tough tournament. We had a good turnout. We had 6 guys in the finals, so it was nice.
How cool was it beating Haas?
It was pretty nice. I mean, he's tough, and you know, we're kind of friendly with each other, but it was nice to wrestle him tough.
Most outstanding wrestler, and you're wrestling out of your weight class. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I just want to get some tough matches in at 106 before a sectional tournament. I gotta get ready for that.
Fairport's night ended with teammates squaring off at 126. A.J. Pesci decisioned James Arrow.
It's pretty difficult knowing that he's so close. He's probably the closest person on the team for me. He's like my brother. And that we live so close to each other, we hang out all the time. It was difficult in my head, but I had to get past it for the match. I had to try to win.
Despite winning just 2 of the 15 weight classes, Fairport won the Clayton Barnard by 19 points. Hilton was second, Spencerport third. The message was clear: the Rangers aren't alone at the top anymore.
We really focus on our individual accomplishments, and to get the team total at the end is you know, the dynamics of a whole group coming together, so I'm very proud of the way we wrestled today.
You know, it used to be Spencerport and then everybody else. It's clearly not that anymore, is it?
I think that, you know, the playing field has become a little bit more level. You know, Section 5 still has very good wrestling. I don't want to say Spencerport's down. I'd like to think that, you know, maybe some of the other teams are, you know, catching up to them.
And we'd like to thank the athletes, teams, and coaches in Section 5. If you have a story you'd like to share with us, let us know. Send an email to rocksportsnow@gmail.com. Thanks for watching. Be safe, and we'll see you back here next week for more The High School Sports Beat.